Today I will be showing you how I make matzo ball soup. It's quick and easy. The first step to making any soup is washing your hands thoroughly. Also do this whenever your hands are dirty. This is what you will need for the soup. 1 whole chicken, some chicken gizzards made mandatory by my dad. For spices, I'm using 3 bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, 1 tablespoon of thyme, and 1 tablespoon of dill, and 2 onions. For veggies, I'm using 1 head of celery washed, 10 carrots peeled and washed, and a half of a bunch of parsley that I forgot to add. You'll also need a large pot to put it all in. The first thing I did was chop the celery. I sped this up because I did it very slowly, so enjoy watching my impeccable knife skills throughout the video. The pieces should be bite-sized and small enough to fit in a spoon, but it's really up to your preference. Next, I chop the carrots into soup-sized chunks. For me, that is fairly large because that's what I prefer. Don't worry though, the carrots will soften as they boil. I recommend cutting the carrots in half for easier chopping. Here is how my chopped carrots look. I chopped the onions in half twice and sliced them. They made me cry, but you need them to take you to Flavor Town. Since I have a whole chicken, I like to cut it up into pieces, but this is totally optional and not necessary to make a good soup. Now to put everything in the pot. You can do this in any order you want, just be sure to put in everything. I would have preferred to use fresh herbs, but the store was completely out, so I had to use dried ones from my pantry. I added some salt now, but I continued to add throughout to my taste. And finally, I added the gizzards, which were still semi-frozen together. Now add just enough water to cover the ingredients. Put the lid on the pot, set the temperature to medium, and wait for it to come to a boil. Since we're waiting for the soup to boil, it's now time to make the matzo ball mix. I just followed the directions on the container of matzo meal that I had in my pantry, so let's go. Make sure that you take any eggshells out. Try not to spill the salt like I did, but they still came out fine. Once it was all mixed in, we put it in the fridge to chill. Then I checked on my soup. It's looking good, but it needs more time. So let's make charoset. Here's everything you'll need. Chop up 5 apples really small and put them in a bowl. Add 1 cup of chopped walnuts, 3 boxes of golden raisins, and optionally some chopped dried fruits. Mix these all together well. Add as much honey as you like. I like mine to be very sweet, so I continued to add a lot. And make sure you stir the honey in well. Now add some Manischewitz wine or grape juice to taste. Mix all of this together, adding 1 tablespoon of cinnamon that I forgot to show, and you will have charoset, everyone's favorite part of the Seder. Our matzo ball mix has been sitting in the fridge long enough. Let's take it out and make some balls. I recommend that you roll your balls somewhere close to a sink or use a bowl of water to rinse off your hands as you need them. Remember that they will swell while cooking, so adjust the size to your preference for that. As you can see, I made quite a lot of them. This was 3 cups of matzah meal. I put the matzo balls back into the fridge so I could boil some water to cook them in. The soup's coming along. Don't forget to stir it occasionally. Once the soup's been boiling for a while and you can see the meat starting to come off of the bones, it's time to fish the meat out so that we can cut it into bite-sized pieces. The chicken will be very hot, so handle it with care. Put the bones to the side if you want to remove them. Then add the chicken back to the soup and stir it well. The matzo ball water is ready and it's time to cook them up. Carefully drop the balls into the boiling water. They should sink to the bottom of the pot. They stuck together, so I had to reshape them as I went. Keep this in mind if you try this. Your hands can get pretty messy. I added all of them to the pot, one at a time, but make sure that your pot has enough room for that. Once the matzo balls are floating, it's time to transfer them to the soup. Make sure the soup is still boiling so that they may continue any additional cooking. I made way too many matzo balls for my soup and I couldn't even cover the pot with the lid, so make sure you plan ahead for that. Let this simmer for a little while. Now your soup is ready to eat. Enjoy!